All right. Most investors think the only way to make money in real estate is flipping houses or just stacking rentals. But listen, they are playing checkers while developers, they're out there playing chess. There is a whole other game happening underneath the dirt, underneath the house. And that's where the real money is made before the foundation is even poured. Today, we are talking to Brandon Cobb, a land development tactician who has built his career on turning raw dirt into cash flowing communities without dealing with tenants, toilets, or termites. So if you want to learn how to spot profitable land, unlock zoning approvals, and structure deals like a real development, this is the episode that's going to pull back the curtain. Welcome to the Closers Club, where real investors come to master the plays that pay off right now. So let's get right into it. Brandon, welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic. What a warm welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. Most investors are out there stuck chasing ugly houses, but you've really made your name and a lot of money from raw land. For somebody who's never done a land deal, right? What is the first thing you look for that tells you if like that piece of dirt or that field or that forest, whatever it is, could be profitable?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different types of development. So I'll
Hmm.
narrow down exactly what we do. So if you have
Yeah.
a piece of land and you're wondering, hey, will a national home builder buy this? Because that's what we do. We take land,
Right.
we get it approved for new housing communities. That's different than, hey, can I subdivide this little tract and sell it to
Yeah.
a local builder, right? It's a different
Hmm.
ball game. So if that's what you're wanting to do, large multi 7-figure paydays on stuff like that, the
Wow.
first thing you look at are national builders building in
Because they've
their
got the money and they are buying right now.
number one. That's the number
Mhm.
one thing you need. And then the second is, does this property have sewer access? And you can do that by going to the local utilities department and
Okay.
asking for a sewer map to see where the sewer runs to see if you can tap
Okay.
into it. The sewer is what creates the density. Now, I'm not
Okay.
saying you can't do a deal with a septic system or a step system,
Yeah.
but the lots are much bigger and you're
Hmm.
not going to be able to get quite the density out of. But
Got it. That
if
makes
it's in
sense.
an area where builders are building and selling houses with
Mhm.
step systems or septic systems, then it absolutely works. But that's the first thing you need is you need to see proof of concept in the area.
Right. So I love that. So you've obviously got to have sewer. How much work do you have to do with the individual cities to like get the approvals for that? Because sometimes, like, and I see this every so often in the news, like, hey, this developer wants to put something in, but there's not enough capacity for it.
Mhm. Yes, and so that's what's called the entitlement process, and
Got it.
it's a lot of work, right? There
Mhm.
is a lot of navigation that you have to go through to make sure that the community is accepting a
Right.
piece of land that has been approved that is safe.
Hmm.
Anybody who's traveled to a third world country,
Yeah.
this is we're blessed to have these systems in place. Like I'd always complained about how long it took and the
Right.
oh my God, the city official doesn't understand and they're asking for something. Yeah, there's a reason for that in place. And I didn't
Mhm.
understand the process and the reason, or I guess the reason behind the process until I
Right.
started traveling a lot, right? When you think of like a new community getting accepted,
Hmm.
each department in the city has a job, and that job is to make sure the community is safe. So the
Hmm.
fire department has to approve the community. They're looking at, hey,
Really?
how far are the fire hydrants from the
Yeah.
houses? Can the hoses reach? Are the houses too close to the power lines? The
Hmm.
stormwater department's reviewing it to see, okay, is there going to be flooding that happens? Are the residents
Yeah.
safe? So public works, hey, what are the slopes of the roads for water drainage into the so each department of the city has to approve the development and abide by its guidelines, and that's why it takes so long.
So when in what you do in prepare, you're going out and you're fine, and I definitely want to talk about this, how you're finding these large parcels. Um, how far through that process are you taking? Are you taking it all the way to putting in the roads and putting in the fire hydrants, or are you just getting everything ready and then turning that completed project over to somebody who's going to fulfill it?
Yeah, so there's three phases of development. We've done all three. We focus
Okay.
on the first two right now. So we came into this industry as a builder. We were building dozens and dozens of houses,
Hmm.
started getting bought out of our land positions by the bigger builders, and we're like, hey, we
Yeah.
really like this right now. But the first phase is just entitling it. We go, we get the land under contract during our due diligence period. We go
Hmm.
find a national buyer, big boy, and they go,
Yeah.
man, if you get this approved, we want to buy it. Here's my deposit. So we have an A B contract with
Really?
the seller. We have a
Okay.
BC contract with the builder. And if we get that lined up during our due diligence period, we take it through and we sell the paper. We double close on it, right? Phase two is we can then develop the land if we want. And that's
Yeah.
what we're creating. We grade it all out. We put the roads, we put the utilities. We basically make a neighborhood with no homes, and we
Okay.
build the ready to build lots to the builder. So those are like the first two phases of development, and we do both of those.
Okay. So you will actually set up the sewer and the internet and the electric and all of that stuff. Really? Okay. So this is real due diligence. This isn't like in your little wholesale contract where you've got 30 days and you're doing due diligence. You're actually working with the city. How long does that normally last on a land deal?
It's going to vary depending on the market that you're in. I say,
Okay.
God bless people who are in New York and California, right?
Oh,
You're not
yeah.
we're going to do business there. It takes us about 15 months to get an approval.
Wow.
And again, I
Okay.
used to complain about that until I talked to developers in New York and California, and then
Yeah.
I hug my problems at night before I go to bed.
I love that. So 15 months from the time you start to the time you get paid. So this isn't quick cash for anybody who's listening, but these are enormous checks.
Yeah, they're very, very large checks. It's very, very large deal
Mhm.
sizes.
Yeah. So that's what you're bringing to these big builders, these track builders, national or regional builders is you're just doing all of that legwork and kind of serving this up to them on a platter.
That's exactly right. And what I love about it is one, they pay cash. They're funded by
Mhm.
Wall Street. These are
Right.
publicly traded builders,
Mhm.
which means in order for stock price go up, you
Mhm.
must buy. They don't have a choice. They have to buy more land.
Right.
Stock price has to go up, and there's only one way to do that, which is to buy. So there's
Mhm.
a lot of incentive right here. We have a buyer that's very well capitalized and very motivated to continuously buy.
Hmm. What would be the things where after somebody and what kind of I don't know what kind of deposit they would put down, but what are some of the things that would kill a deal? Like that would pop up in your due diligence that would just, you know, make you have to cancel those contracts?
Yeah, so it's very simple. I like to simplify this for a lot of people. Number
Mhm.
one, when you're looking for what area, I don't have to go and do all this market research. The
Mhm.
builders have already done that. I
Mm.
just go where the nationals already are, and I'm
Yeah.
feeding more. So that's how I find the deal.
Mhm.
Then once we put the land under contract, we then create a concept plan. You can literally
Okay.
draw this on a sheet of paper if you want, but there's engineers and people you can pay to create the concept plan for what's
Mhm.
going to go. We take that concept plan to the city. We go meet with the planning directors and the council
Mhm.
people, and we're just asking for feedback. Hey, how would this be received? Is this something that the citizens in the community like?
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
are some things developers that have done creative women? If they say, yeah, we really like that, and they don't say, hey, there's a moratorium, we need to upgrade our sewer system, there's not
Yeah.
enough water or some problem. Well, at that point, the deal's dead. But if they say,
Right.
yeah, we like this, we're not having any issues, we'd love to see this, we
Mhm.
take that concept plan to our list of buyers,
Got it.
we get a contract from them, and that is what tells us to move forward.
So you're spending a little bit of money, but you've got some kind of rendering, something, right? Before you're asking them for some money. What kind of deposits do you normally get on these?
10% of the purchase price is pretty normal.
Ooh.
On
Ooh.
entitlements, up to 20%.
Mhm.
So you can get a significant deposit. Again, it's Wall Street's money,
Right.
right? It's a significant amount of money.
Mhm.
On our horizontal development, what I really like that's unique to that specific niche is they are usually giving a 10-20% deposit of the purchase
Mhm.
released to us to actually do the development.
Well, that was what I was gonna ask you is, do you have access to any of that deposit, or does it just
Yes.
sit in escrow?
And that's significantly, and we can use that as
Mm.
collateral to banks because when the banks that do these types of loans or the lenders that do these types of loans, we can actually use that as equity. So I'm
Mm.
getting free equity that doesn't
Yeah,
cost me any money
yeah.
to be able to put down as a down payment to get the
Mhm.
horizontal infrastructure loan.
Wow. So, but this is not just a no money down strategy, right? Like you're going to have to come have some money to clearly do some marketing, but to do those initial renderings and things like that. This isn't for somebody who's like, I don't have any money, but I want to do this.
Right. Yeah. This is for sophisticated investors that have had a
Yeah.
level of success that are wanting to do larger development deals. Now,
Mhm.
how much money do you need? It just varies on your deal sizes,
Right.
and what we do is we structure it where when we're taking it through entitlements, like the builder has to release that deposit to us. They've
Right.
got to release money or help pay and design the civil drawings. And so
Mhm.
that's a way we mitigate risk is they pay for the civil drawings or they release a significant deposit. So they've got some
Mhm.
skin in the game. It covers our costs. But what
Right.
you can expect to pay as a developer during your due diligence period, you need a concept plan.
Right.
If you're going to submit for preliminary plat, you need a preliminary plat to submit, which means some light engineering that needs to be done. This is where you introduce a civil engineer, and then
Mhm.
they might make you do like a traffic study, and that's going to cost you, $6,000-7,000 potentially.
Okay.
And the size of the development matters too. You can get started doing like a 20-unit development
Mhm.
and not have near the amount of cost that it would be for like a 200 home development. That's
Right.
pretty affordable, what I would say.
Mhm.
Here's the thing though, and this is why we focus on the bigger deals. It's the same approval process for a 20-unit
Yeah.
community as it is a 100-home community.
Mhm.
You might as well go after the bigger deals.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and your seven-figure paydays, that's absolutely amazing. So when somebody's out looking for these types of areas, are you looking for stuff that's like a old farmland that's already cleared, or is it like forests and you're gonna have to clear all these types of trees? Like, what's the I mean, what are you really searching for? I don't want to say what's ideal because clearly something with no trees would be ideal, right? I don't know.
Let's say you found an area where there's development, right?
Yeah.
You got Ryan Homes, Lennars in the area.
Mhm.
You're like, boom, perfect. You ever pulled up a parcel map before where you
Mhm.
got all the little puzzle
Yep.
pieces that are fitting together? We look for the large puzzle pieces that are around all the small puzzle pieces.
Mhm.
That's it. It's
Really?
literally that simple. Yes. Now, there's a couple things you got to keep in mind. It has to be around something. And again, if you're in an area that already has development, this box is usually checked, but usually within 15 minutes of an interstate is what you'll
Yeah.
find that nationals want to be. There's got to be access within, 10, 15 minutes of a Kroger or a Walmart
Sure.
or something,
Sure.
right? There's got to be a coffee shop. There's got to be something going on. And again,
Right.
the box gets checked because they wouldn't be building there to begin with if they didn't have
Mhm.
this.
Makes sense.
But that's literally it. We're looking for like the main arteries, the
Mhm.
large, literally the large puzzle pieces that are next to
Mhm.
all the small puzzle
And
pieces.
I would imagine you could pull up Ryan Holmes, Lennar, America's for whoever, and they've got maps of where their communities are, and you can sort of throw a dart and try to figure out at least the right area to start.
Yeah, yeah. You just go to their local website, and there'll be a map of all their communities.
Nice. So when somebody's starting this, like, what are the even if you've got a little bit of money to start, what are the biggest risks that somebody could run into?
Yeah, the biggest risk so there's a few things that we see a lot of people
Mhm.
make as a mistake. The number one mistake is spending money or buying the land before the approvals. That is your
Mhm.
golden rule. Do not buy the land before you get the
Mhm.
approvals in place. But Brandon,
Yeah.
how do I convince the seller to go into contract for a year and a half and get
Yeah.
because we're offering them multiples more than what their land is currently worth. When I come
Mm.
to somebody with a compelling value proposition, it's like,
Mhm.
hey, your land is worth this. I'm going to pay you twice what it's worth. Are you interested in how I can do that? Yeah. How?
Really?
This is how, but I need the approval in place first. And so you're going to go under contract with me, Mr.
Mhm.
Seller, for 15 months,
Yeah.
and we're going to get it approved. Once it's approved, your land's worth more, and I can pay you more. Does that make sense? Great. And I'm going
Mhm.
to invite you to all of the hearings so you can see that this is actually happening and you're on the
Right.
docket. So that's how we do that.
Interesting. So, wow. And you can do this in any market? Does it need to be your home market? Can you do it virtually? Like where can you do this?
Yeah, I recommend starting out in your backyard, and there's
Mhm.
probably a national home builder in your backyard, unless you just live out in the middle of nowhere. But you can
No.
definitely do it virtually. You just have to have the right partner, and
Mhm.
like there's civil engineering teams that will turnkey do everything for you. So
Oh,
not only
really?
will they design the community,
Uh-huh.
but they'll present it to the
Mhm.
planning department. They'll walk it through. They're with you anyway on all those hearings because they
Right.
have to answer the questions about the community. That civil engineering has to stamp the plans and
Mhm.
risk their license to say, hey, what I've designed is safe.
Yeah.
So they have skin in the game, and you can pay them to just take the whole thing through. So you don't necessarily have to be in the market. You can
Mhm.
do things virtually.
Yeah.
Also, there are consultants that used to work for the city
Yeah.
and they realize that they can make more money just
Oh,
consulting to the
so much.
developers. And so they come to the developer side and you pay them
Yeah.
a consulting fee and they've already got the relationships and they know the process and they know
Mhm.
how it works and they'll actually walk and represent your development for you and walk
Oh,
it through. So, again, costs some money to do this,
Right.
but you don't have to necessarily do it. But I recommend anybody starting it go through the process
Sure.
yourself and learn, because it's a great learning experience, and you can outsource it later on if you want.
I love that. And does outsourcing it and bringing those people in, does it just make it go faster or is it
Yeah.
just smoother?
Well, it's more expensive, right? You got to think about
Mhm.
that because
Yeah.
they're doing it for you, as
Mhm.
opposed to you doing it. But it can 100% make it faster because
Mm.
you're dealing with someone with the relationships, right?
Mhm.
Your civil engineer has to show up either way. So I'd
Yeah.
argue that they're not going to make it any faster, them showing up and doing it. And it might even be a little bit slower with a civil engineer doing it because they're not going to have the same level of uh, wanting to get it done
Right.
as you are, right?
Mhm.
The stepping in and pushing things through. But an expediter that's coming in with relationships already
Mhm.
that knows everybody, yes, 100%. And we've used those before, and they're
Mhm.
worth their weight in gold.
Wow. So I know you've talked to and you guys help people walk through this process. But as you're talking to people that want to get into this, what are some of the biggest like just misconceptions or things that they have wrong about land? Like what are the common things that people just are just completely wrong about?
The biggest limiting beliefs that we see, especially in our coaching program with this stuff,
Mhm.
is people see these large developments and they automatically think, oh, I just can't do that.
Yeah.
They just think, "Oh, that's just way too much. I'll never be able to do that." And the funny
Mhm.
thing is, this business is a whole lot easier than flipping houses,
Yeah.
because it was so saturated in the house flipping business. That's how we started 10 years ago. Then we
Right.
started building houses and then wanted to scale our new construction and started going after land. So there's a lot less competition after the big deals. But yes,
Mhm.
it is sophisticated. It is difficult getting approvals in place. Yes, you do need some liquidity on the side.
Mhm.
So that's the biggest thing. People just see a large development and think, oh, I'll never be able to do that.
Right. What about people who say, they're just the market's oversaturated and nobody's building houses and, nobody would want this. I'd just be wasting my time.
Well, that's why during your due diligence period, you're taking it
Yeah.
to the city and you're lining
Yeah.
your buyer up before you go
Mhm.
and waste your time.
I
Like
love
I
that.
said, our buyers have to buy. It is
Right.
a publicly traded company. They
Right.
have to buy in order to grow. So there's a lot of motivation there. Now, they've
Sure.
scaled back over the last year and a half. I'm not going to lie,
Yeah.
but they're still buying, just
Right.
not quite as much. And we're
Yeah.
talking about housing, right? The need for housing is not going to go away. And a lot of what we
No.
do is
We're
affordable housing.
Yeah.
So not Section 8 or government housing, but that
Mhm.
first time homebuyer housing product.
Yeah.
That's what we're creating. That's who we're serving.
Mm.
And there's just a huge supply and demand imbalance right now.
There is. I think we're like what 4 million units short in the United States. Like we're so short. And every time we have these slowdowns, people do not stop having kids.
Yeah.
They're still doing boy girl things and having popping out kids at the same rate. So yeah, these people need a place to live. Yeah, I think that's absolutely crucial. But you are seeing more of an adjustment to maybe less expensive houses because I've seen that where some of the big builders maybe they're building the house but not with the garage. Just some things to try to bring those costs down.
Smaller houses, people scaling back on
Mhm.
the amenities, how
Mhm.
what's going in the houses.
Mhm.
Yeah, everyone's trying to create affordability. So
Yeah.
that is the number one thing that is needed, I think, right now in
Mhm.
the housing market is affordability.
Mhm.
And I think it's no surprise. I was looking at a chart. Anyone wants to see something very interesting here, go Google a chart that is like long-term uh, purchase versus rent,
Mm.
average purchase or average mortgage versus average rent. And so
Mhm.
there's two lines called like the average rent, and there's a
Right.
line called the average mortgage. And right now, it's never been greater. That gap between what it costs to own a home versus what it costs to rent,
Mhm.
it's so much more affordable to rent right now.
It is. It is. I was actually talking to someone that works for me earlier today, and her rent is 1,800, and if she refine or it's a rent to own type thing, and it'll be $2,500. It's better for her to stay there. Are you so when you're dealing with these and national home builders, and I'm sure you're connected with a lot of them, do you know which ones are looking for those types of developments? So when you're doing your initial renderings, maybe we're not putting in the pool and the clubhouse and that type of stuff, or do you know, who likes smaller lots, who wants the quarter acre lots, that type of stuff, and then you
Yeah,
can kind of develop it
they've
for
all
them.
got the same buy box, and
Really?
they all want to be in the same area. I mean,
Mm,
it's they have the same exact business model. Literally, I mean,
Really?
literally, it's the same business model. Now you might have some luxury builders like Toll Brothers or someone like
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
most of them, D.R. Horton,
Mhm.
Lennar,
Yeah.
they want entry level housing, and it's the same box that they're all
It
building.
is. It's sticks and drywall. It's all the same. They throw a little bit of crown molding in there, some fancy baseboard, but they're all basically the same. Brandon, this is amazing. I know this sounds complicated, but I think if you have the right coach or mentor, or at least if you're in the right group, this can be a very doable thing. How quickly, if somebody, let's say, somebody's working with you, how quickly can they kind of get out of the starting gate and get these deals started?
We literally don't spend any money on marketing.
Yeah.
We hand build all of our lists. We
Hmm.
call people. We go
Yeah.
knock on doors. That's
Hmm.
it. There's no magic piece of software that exists out there where you can
Yeah.
click a couple filters and you have a perfect list of land that is
Yeah.
perfect for development. It doesn't
Right.
exist. So it's a good thing because it's created barriers for people that want to get out there, do the work. We
Yeah.
hand build the list like we're scrolling on Parcel Viewer, picking them out, and we just go show up and knock on doors and
Yeah.
call people. I mean, that's it, right? It's getting back to the basics of doing
Right.
business. Works really, really well. So you
Yeah.
don't need a whole lot of money. And for people who are kind of scared to do this, if you have a deal under contract and it's a good deal and you've got
Yeah.
that 18-month time frame to get like the approvals, go
Mhm.
bring it to a developer, partner
Yeah.
with them. Like they'll
Yeah.
pay for everything. I promise you bring me a good deal today, I'll finance everything for you. Right.
Really?
Like there's a way to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So, how can people get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to reach out and not just connect with you, but just to learn this business? Because it sounds, I'm fascinated by it. Like told you before we started, I've never talked to anybody that has done this side of the business. So, I love, someone that could come on and kind of pull back the curtain. Where's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, we've got a free course for people who want to learn more about this and get
Mm.
started. It's learnlanddevelopment.com.
Hmm.
Contact info's on there. It's a free course, teaches you how to get and find land, the due diligence, and
Hmm.
how to actually raise the money for your
Yeah.
deal too, because you're going to eventually need to learn that. So
Mm.
you go to learnlanddevelopment.com. You can grab
Mhm.
that.
Awesome. Brandon, thanks so much for coming on, man. This was really cool. This was fascinating. This is something that I've been in the industry 22 years and know literally nothing about. So I appreciate you coming on today.